Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. It's right on 5:30. I'd like to declare our meeting open today, 22nd July 2026. Declaring the meeting open. Item 2, attendance, apologies and approved leave of absence. We have one apology, Councillor Phillips, and hopefully we have Councillor James online. Councillor James, can we hear you? Not as yet, so hopefully we will come back. Come back. Hopefully she will be able to join as soon as possible. So that's our apology. Our item 2.3, approved leave of absence. We don't have any. Item 3, declaration of interest. Are there any declarations of interest? No, thank you. Item 4, public question time. Response to previous public questions taken on notice, which we don't have any. And at this stage, item 4.2, we don't have any public to ask our questions. We do have dinner being delivered. Yep. Item 5, petitions, deputations and presentations. No. Item 6, applications for leave of absence. Don't have any at this stage. Item 7, announcements by the presiding member and delegates reports. I'll start off with you, Councillor Hamilton.
I attended the Youth at Risk meeting on the 25th of June. I also attended the Central Midlands Senior High School Agricultural Advisory Committee meeting on the 30th of June, and I attended the Rotary changeover on the 2nd of July, and it was really nice to see Bob there and his wife, Evelyn.
Thank you, Councillor Fife. Councillor Durgan. No. Councillor Gilbert.
You were at the Youth at Risk.
Wasn't that one cancelled the 25th of June? There's a lack of attendance?
Oh. You're a step ahead of me, Troy. Yeah,
I say I didn't
you're correct.
we
didn't have it. I had it on my diary and we didn't actually have it. Yeah, so, my fault. Sorry, take that one off.
Report.
Which one was that, sorry?
Youth at Risk on the 25th of June.
Oh, that was cancelled.
We cancelled it. Yeah. But Troy remembered and I forgot.
Councillor Gilbert, you.
Tomorrow.
And
yes, that's right.
I haven't got anything to report either. Item 7.2, delegates reports. Any reports from delegates?
No.
No. We will move on. Item 8, confirmation of minutes. 8.1, ordinary council meeting 24th June 2026. There's a recommendation that council confirm the minutes of the ordinary council meeting held on 24th of June 2026 as a true and correct record of the meeting. Is there a mover for that recommendation, please? Councillor Gilbert, thank you. A seconder? Councillor Hamilton, would you like to speak for or against? Or Councillor Hamilton?
For.
Anyone like to speak against? No, that being the case, we'll put it to the vote. All those in favour? Thank you. Carried unanimously. Item 9, reports of office. 9.1, Chief Executive Officer. 9.11, grader changeover. Our author is our CEO, Gavin Robbins. Before we go into discussion or look at the recommendation, anything else to add, CEO?
No, this is consistent with discussions we've already had with regard to the purchase of this grader. Councillors will remember we originally proposed that this grader be purchased using borrowed funds, which we didn't do because of the impact of those additional borrowings on our capacity to borrow funds for things such as the development of the sport and rec centre, and around changing that strategy to leasing the machine rather than borrowing to buy it. And this paper uses basically the same information that was used when we made the submission to council to borrow money, other than now it proposes that we lease the machine. And we lease the same. We're proposing to lease the same machine from Westrac. Westrac agreed to a transaction and change the transaction strategy, and this paper proposes that we make that transaction in accordance with all the other borrowing arrangements that we have, and that it's consistent with the resolution passed by council back in November last year.
Because this is a little bit complex, any questions to our CEO? Councillor Dugan?
What was the initial price quoted for the outright purchase of the grader?
The initial price for the outright purchase was $316,000.
Any other questions?
So that leasing arrangement's bumped it up to 488, is that what you're saying?
Yes. So it's a 10-year lease.
10-year lease? And the other one, the CAT 2016 model that we're looking at replacing, that's 10 years old.
Yes.
What was the approximate value of the grader that we're replacing?
$153,000.
$153,000.
And a question for the chair. So we have traded that.
We're still here at this stage because we don't have the resolution to complete this transaction.
Right. I see. Thank you. Any other questions to our CEO? Can I just interrupt? Is Councillor James online?
Yes.
Welcome. We have a small problem. I'll just interrupt our conversation here. We can't see you online, so we're just going to have to rely on you saying yes or no if you're in favour of a resolution. Sorry. Yep. So another question, Councillor Dugan?
Sorry, at this point I'm looking at the grader cost for the last 10 years has been essentially 163,000. We'd be looking at 488,000 because we would have nothing to, at the end of that lease, we wouldn't own the grader at all, would we?
No.
So we'd have nothing to trade in or sell or anything at that point. If we were to purchase outright, it's 316,000, gives us, as I said, a difference of about 163,000. That's been the total cost for the last 10 years. Whereas if we lease this, it's a total cost of nearly $500,000 for the next 10 years. We've gone from essentially $16,500 a year expense for our grader to nearly $50,000 a year expense for our grader. And I think perhaps we might need to table this and discuss it a bit more before we make a decision on this.
That's what we're doing now. There's a recommendation there. I'm allowing some discussion beforehand.
So remember, we took this step because we couldn't afford to buy it. And the lease was the option that was available to us. It's probably not that similar to the outcome we'd have probably ended up having with the borrowed funds, except that we'd have, as you say, own that machine at the end of the time, but we'd have we wouldn't have bought it outright in the same way because it would have been with borrowed funds.
Councillor Gilbert, you have a question?
You're saying what Councillor Dugan's saying is basically we haven't got the capability in our budget to buy it outright with that trade-in. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Right. The only way we can do it is on a lease agreement for the 10 years.
Or not buy it.
Or not buy it, yeah. And it really is that really just because of what the situation is with the Westpac Treasury, what we've got going with the other projects?
Largely, yes. And don't forget that we have a proposal to borrow more funds from WATC to complete the wax housing. And that will be an impost on us. And because wax now wants 2 houses effectively, the cost is basically double what we were going to have to borrow in the first place. We haven't tested that borrowing capacity now with WATC because this is a new cycle.
Okay, and so just going back to the 2016 grader, is there any issues with it at the moment? It's going to cause any grief if it continues on for another 12 months or whatever?
I'm not sure. I would say from what I've heard that the machine's probably okay. Certainly haven't heard any issues reported that mean or suggest that we should get rid of it.
Yeah, well, I'm probably in the box saying we'll just leave it, I think, for the moment, just let it ride for 12 more months. For what the arrangement with what the lease against what you purchase, if you'd be able to just purchase it with that trade-in against that lease arrangement for 10 years, that you don't actually have anything at the end of that 10 years. That's how I read it anyway, just at the moment. Fairly big gap, isn't it? Like 316 to 488.
But we do have a trade-in if we go ahead with this. Is that right?
Do 2,000.
No, it's a lease vehicle, so we just hand it back at the end of the lease.
No, sorry, we've already got a grader to
Yes.
trade in
Yes, that's true.
if this is voted on.
Yes.
63.
The affirmative.
Mm.
If it's not, keep the grader. That's right.
But then in 10 years' time, we face that we don't have anything to trade in against the next 10-year lease that we're going to have to face. At least that way, when in 10 years' time, we have something again to trade in. When it comes, and we got to look at this as a long-term thing for future generations, not just how do we slap a band-aid on it now. But like you said, if we can get another year or even possibly two, and we can put some money aside through the budgets to put aside to buy it outright, with $163,000 changeover. And by memory, we also had other tenders from different companies at a lower rate that guaranteed that all our attachments and fittings would fit. So we could also revisit that in the future as well. I think it might be that we need to, whether we table it for 12 months or whether we table it until we can at least have a more in-depth discussion about it and be able to discuss with Keith and stuff like that about other options.
Can I just interrupt? I've allowed some discussion. We've still got a recommendation we've got to vote on. So anyway, if any other questions on the discussion? No, that being the case, there is a recommendation which I'll read out, that council endorsed the procurement by lease of one only 2025 model Caterpillar 140 with a 12-foot moldboard blade at a lease cost of $488,730, plus the cost of the reversible fan for $5,000, excluding GST. Is there a mover for that recommendation, please? No mover. We do this now.
No one supports it, so it's not carried.
Not carried. Right, so we move on to the next. Councillor James, you're not in favour of moving?
Not in favour, no.
No. Right, we will move on to item 9.2.1, list of payments authorised under delegation 1.15. The author is our CEO, Gavin Robbins. Any questions before we go on to the recommendation? I don't see any questions, so I will read out the officer recommendation that council note and endorse the payments from the municipal and trust funds made under delegation 1.15. Which I won't read out, but the payment total for June 2026 is $1,708,729.84. Is there a mover for that recommendation, please? Councillor Gilbert, thank you. Is there a seconder? Councillor Hamilton, thank you. Councillor Gilbert, you'd like to speak for or against? Thank you. Councillor Hamilton? Anyone like to speak against the recommendation? No, that being the case, all those in favour, and Councillor James, are you in favour?
Yes.
Thank you. That's unanimous and carried. Sorry, Councillor James, we can't see you on the screen, so I'll have to ask you for each recommendation, but I'm sure we can get through. Yep, thank you. Item 9.2.2, statement of financial activity for the period ended 30th of June 2026. The author is Travis Bate from our financial accountant from RSM Australia. Welcome, Travis. Travis, first of all, before we go any further, have you got anything to add to this financial activity statement?
Yeah, I do have some points that I wanted to raise, if that's okay.
Yes.
If I share my screen, are you going to see it, or is that
No.
not going to appear either?
Unfortunately, no.
Okay. I'll talk to the attachment 9.2.2 that you should have then as PDF document.
Just try and find that.
Yeah. Oh.
How's everyone going with that?
Yeah, got it in front of me.
Yeah.
You got yours, do you?
Just gonna listen.
Yep, got it.
Thank you, Travis.
Okay, so the first point I would make is this is the financial statements based on the data as it stands today. Still in the process of finalising year-end adjustments to the financial statements in terms of things like leave provisions, accrued expenses, etc. And then once that's all finalised, the financial statements still need to go through audit. So the numbers as presented today, they will change from what we've got presented in this report at the moment when it comes to the annual financial statements that are adopted by council when we have completed that process. First page I would just speak to is the statement of financial activity, which is page number 8 of that PDF.
Yes.
So this is all of the movements that occur through the month, and it's summarised in the other parts of the document. I don't normally look at this one too much in our presentations, but I just wanted to draw attention to towards the bottom end of the page there where it's got financing activities, and you'll see there's proceeds from long-term borrowings, $1,650,000. So that was the WACS loan, housing loan funding that was applied for from WATC. So those funds have come in before the 30th of June, was 1,650,000 for 2 loans.
Travis, sorry to interrupt. Could you tell me what page you're looking at? Page 8. Is that what you said?
Yes, page 8 of the PDF document of 9.2.2.
Okay.
That's it there.
Sure, it's not page 7.
The top of the page says statement of financial activity in the left-hand corner of it.
Activity.
Yeah, I've got that. It's page 7.
Page
Oh,
seven.
page
Okay.
7 on the PDF, but it's page 8 on the file.
Right.
Sorry, I'm referring to the page number of the file.
Yeah, sorry. I couldn't
Okay.
find what you were telling us about.
Okay, sorry.
Thank you. I've got it now. Yeah, you can.
Yes.
Yep. So that 1,650,000 came in June, and then you'll see further down we've got unspent borrowings of 550,000 as a negative, which is reflected in that figure or in those numbers. So that was there's 2 loans that are taken there, and that's the loan for the second phase of the WACS housing. So those funds have been removed in calculating what the closing position looks like at the end of the year, because they're borrowings for a specific purpose. So they're not just part of the general surplus that we've got for the year, if that makes sense. So then I'll just jump back a bit to the executive summary, which is page number 4 of the document. It'll say page 3 in the bottom right-hand corner, but it's page 4 of the PDF.
Yep.
Yes. Yeah, got
Yep.
that.
So you'll see there we've got a closing surplus at the end of the year of $1,842,000, which compares to the budget being a zero position as a balanced budget. That position is helped by the fact that there was advance payment of financial assistance grants in June. So there was it was just under $2 million, which was received in June, which represents about 84% of the general purpose and 86% of the roads component of financial assistance grants for this 26-27 year. So it's brought that surplus position up to that 1,842 position that we've got there. Capital projects, the major ones are outlined there. There's not really been any significant movement in those compared with what we'd seen in previous months, with a lot of those roadworks projects were wrapped up before the end of the financial year. And likewise, in terms of the rates levied there, there's not really any movement on those from previous months either. So if you just go through to the next page, which is the one with the summary graphs, and that's page number 5 of by the PDF numbering.
Yes.
So current ratio at the 30th of June sitting at a position of 1.49. And cash ratio was at 0.99, so just below that benchmark level of 1 that we have there. And then apart from that, page 18 of the document is note 2 with major variances. So that just outlines the major movements between the adopted budget and the year-end values that we've got reported there at the moment. The majority of those items are the same items that we've reported on in previous months in terms of the variances that have occurred there. So that was the main points I wanted to raise on the financial report, but I'm happy to take any questions that people might have in relation to that.
Thank you, Travis. Any questions? It's a bit difficult to follow with these page numbers, but I think I've got there.
Yeah, it'd be easier if I could share the screen.
Yes, righto. We'll work on that in the future. Any questions for Travis? No, thank you, Travis. Anything else to add?
No, nothing else from me.
Righto, thank you. If we can move back to our ordinary council meeting notes.
Sorry, through the chair.
Yes,
Just ask one question. It's probably, I gather what Travis was saying, that variance of 115% of the grant subsidies and contributions was that June. What happened in June with the grant or that subsidy coming in?
The government advance paid some of those grants.
Yep.
Which it's done typically for the last 4 or 5 years.
Yep.
Tends to create a bit of distortion in the numbers.
Yep.
Makes it look as though we've got more money than we have.
Yeah. No, I was sort of thinking that, but yeah, okay. Yep.
thank you. Good question. Thank you, Travis. Well, if there's no more questions to Travis, there's an officer recommendation there that council endorse the statement of financial activity for the period ended 30th of June 2026. Is there a mover for that recommendation, please? Councillor Gilbert, thank you. A seconder? Councillor Hamilton, thank you. Councillor Gilbert, like to speak for or against?
Or
Councillor Hamilton?
Or
Anyone like to speak against? No, that being the case, we'll put it to the vote. All those in favour?
I'm in
Councillor
favour
James?
as well.
In favour,
In favour.
thank you. Carried unanimously. Thank you. Item 9.3.1, policy manual review, elected member policies. The author is Bob Hoogland. Thank you, Bob. Anything else to add, Bob, on
No,
Yes.
nothing to add to the report. This was considered at a briefing session and nothing has changed from that process.
Thank you. Any questions to Bob before I read out the recommendation? No, there's the officer recommendation that council amend the Shire of Moora policy manual as recommended by deleting the elected member policies, presentations to retiring councillors and media. Is there a mover for that recommendation, please? Councillor Hamilton, thank you. A seconder? Councillor Dugan, thank you. Councillor Hamilton, like to speak for or against?
For.
Councillor Dugan? Anyone like to speak against? No, that being the case, I'll put it to the vote. All those in favour? Councillor James?
In favour.
In favour, thank you. Carried unanimously. 9.3.2 Policy Manual Review Health Policies. Once again, the author is Bob Hoagland. Bob, anything to add?
No, as per the report, I went through the policies with our contract Chief Environmental Health Officer, and we've identified that these are redundant because of legislation and changes in health activities and can be removed from the policy.
Thank you, Bob. Any questions to Bob before I read the recommendation? No, I'll read the officer recommendation. The council amend the Shire of Moora policy manual as recommended by deleted the food sampling and home and farm stay policies. Is there a mover for that recommendation, please? Councillor Clydesdale-Gabert, thank you. A seconder? Councillor Dugan, thank you. Councillor Clydesdale-Gabert, for. Councillor Dugan, or anyone like to speak against? No, that being the case, we'll put it to the vote. All those in favour? Councillor James?
In favour.
In favour, thank you. Carried unanimously. 9.3.3 Policy Manual Review, Purchasing and...
To the chair, sorry.
Yes.
Did we miss one that
We jump
section
one.
through the council members' meetings? Up to the, sorry, I just thought of it. 9.3.1.
We may have.
We did.
Elected
did.
members' policies.
We did. Sorry. Thank you.
Right, I just,
No, we did jump. I think it was while we were looking at our financials. Thank you. So we might just go back one. Yeah, and look at.
We did that one. That was
We did.
which one of the 3 points?
Oh, yeah. Elected member policies.
Oh, about the gifts and all that? Oh, did you? Oh, sorry. Well, apologies. Sorry, through the chair. Sorry, Mr. President.
You've got me worried now.
Did the food sampling and farm stay. Now the other one we've got to do is the purchasing and tenders, isn't it?
I am concerned we missed one. Bob, how are we going?
We haven't missed anything.
Thank you.
3.3.
I'll be quiet now.
No. Yeah. Right, we are up to 9.3.3. Is that correct? Yes, the policy manual review for purchasing and tenders policy. Once again, our author is Bob Hoagland. Well done, Bob. Have you got anything to add?
No, we do want to introduce the option which is available to us through the Act to include in our purchasing and tenders policy the idea that we bring in panels of pre-qualified suppliers. So that's what we're seeking to introduce through the change to this policy.
Thank you, Bob. Any questions to Bob before I read out the recommendation? No, I'll read the officer recommendation. The council amend the Shire of Moora purchasing and tenders policy as recommended. To remove for that recommendation, please. Councillor Gilbert, thank you. A seconder. Councillor Clydesdale-Gabert, thank you. Councillor Gilbert, like to speak for or against? Councillor for. Councillor Clydesdale-Gabert, thank you. Anyone like to speak against? No, that being the case, I'll put it to vote. All those in favour, and Councillor James?
In favour.
Thank you. Carried unanimously. Item 9.3.4, meeting attendance fees, delegated elected members. The author, once again, Bob Hoagland, Deputy Chief Executive Officer. Thank you, Bob. Anything to add to this, Bob?
Well, just a little, Councillor Dugan brought to my attention that the legislative requirements, what I've identified there is the local government administration regulations it says section 3A, which is correct, but it's section 3A of regulation 0.30, so it's 3A of regulation 30, which then follows through to the recommendation. So it would be as per regulation 30, section 3A of the local government administration regulations. But no, apart from that, it's as identified in the report.
Any questions to Bob on this? Just a question to our CEO. We have, on our recommendation, we have to put a figure in there.
We do.
Yes. Right. So do we? So that, and on our discussions here. I'll just a bit of clarification.
30,
So that will be
35.
Meeting attendance fees,
of
8,208.
35, isn't it?
Whatever rate.
Is that
Rate.
Is that
Council.
the CPI?
The committee,
So it's 8,000.
committee, but you're right.
Okay,
It's in
so
there between
that's
114 and 244.
And our current rate is at that high end at 244. So I can't think of too many reasons why we would go for somebody different. But council has that absolute right to choose anywhere in that end.
you said 244. Right. Any other questions on that before I read the recommendation? So you offer,
Sorry,
Councillor Zergan?
I guess my big question is there something that should have already been paid as a committee meeting under the prescribed type? Because in the SAT determinations, it says, it basically says all of these are what are considered a committee meeting. And when you go back through the regulations, it says it's an entitlement, not it's a either or, whether you have it paid in lieu or whether you have it as a per meeting entitlement.
Can I clarify that if that's okay?
Bob, thank you.
Councillor Dugan is correct. The Act says these are paid. The regulations say these are paid, but the SAT determination says these are paid where there has been a decision of council to set a fee, and council has not made that decision. So our understanding as management is, and that's why we're seeking it from council, is a determination to set a fee. So I don't think there is any requirement to back pay, because there's never been a decision of council to set a fee for this type of committee meeting until now.
Right. Does that answer your question?
Yes and no. From where I've read through it all, my understanding is that council either decides to set a fee or a payment in lieu. So my understanding is up until now we've set to pay a fee which hasn't been being paid in the past to councillors. So either way, I think we might have an issue of back pay. It's just, I guess, going forwards, whether we set a fee or we look at the payments in lieu or things in the future.
Sorry, that's
yeah,
not what the
that's
SAT
not-
determination says. The SAT doesn't say where council has either set a fee, or it says where council has set a fee. It's not. Yeah, I don't think that's. Well, I don't think that's a valid interpretation, but as I say, I'm not a lawyer, so
Perhaps that might be something we have to have looked into by getting legal advice on that, if we do have that exposure there for past payments up until now.
We should notify that reasonably easily through Donker in the SAT.
So the way I read it says for councillors attending, or the recommendation, for councillors attending prescribed meetings as per section 3A. So that doesn't, you're saying that doesn't determine whether it's an ordinary council meeting or a committee meeting. It's a prescribed meeting.
That determines, well, my understanding is that determines that it's a committee meeting and it's a committee meeting fee. It's just that my understanding of SAT determinations is when we set that committee meeting fee every year in the past was applicable to all five categories or all five subcategories of a committee meeting being the Wildlife meetings, the roads groups, and on the fifth one being the representing council as a delegated member.
I don't believe that is the case.
Yeah, that's where we need the legal advice, I guess, as to how it gets determined, because it can be determined multiple different ways as to how it's read.
Bob, anything to add?
No, I think we should decide on this,
yeah.
which definitely gives us something moving forward, and we can check on the issue of whether there has been any requirement to for previous years, if or previous meetings.
Right. So this officer recommendation, where that gap is with the dollar sign, should read 244.
Yes, and if we can also add section R.303A.
I don't we might have to add that up. So I'll read the recommendation out. That council by absolute majority applies a meeting attendance fee of $244 for councillors attending prescribed meetings as per section 3A of Local Government Administration Regulations 1996. Do we add anything to that, Bob?
Just that R.30, regulation 30,
Regulation 30.
Right.
section 3A.
3A, and I'll add to that regulation 30, section 3A.
Thank you.
Thank you. Is there a
Sorry, can I just ask one question? I'm looking at this piece that we've been given, and I'm looking at where it says meeting attendance fees, and they've got a variation from 24, 25 to 25, 26 actuals based on June's actuals, and there's 5 different figures in 5 different columns there. So the 26, 27 budget, 8,208. So where does that figure of $244 coming from?
Right hand side where it says the set meeting fees on the page.
Right hand side, yeah. Well, actually says 243, not 244.
right?
I think that's what they're projecting, yeah. But within the state determination, it's 144 to 122.
244.
Oh, okay.
244.
244
Right.
is
Yeah.
114
Oh,
to
okay.
244.
Yeah.
That's the range, yeah.
So I've read the recommendation out. Are you happy with that recommendation being read out, Councillor Hamilton?
Yes.
Right. Is there a movement for that recommendation, please?
We'll move the amended recommendation of 30.3A, yes?
Yes. On the back of that, thank you, Councillor Dugan. Is there a seconder, please? Councillor Clydesdale-Gabert, thank you. So happy to speak for. Councillor Clydesdale-Gabert. Anyone like to speak against? No, that being the case, I'll put it to the vote. All those in favour? Councillor James?
In favour.
Thank you. That's unanimous. Carried. Item 9.3.5, General Purpose Committee Meetings. Once again, the author is Bob Hoogland, Deputy Chief Executive Officer. Bob, anything to add to this?
Back in March, we decided to trial the discontinuing of the General Purpose Committee meetings with the direction that it come back to Council for consideration, and this is it coming back to Council.
Thank you, Bob. Any questions to ask for Bob before we read out the recommendation? No, that being the case, there's an officer recommendation, which I'll read out, that Council discontinue holding General Purpose Committee meetings on an ongoing basis and only hold these committee meetings as required. Is there a mover for that recommendation, please? Councillor Dugan, thank you. Is there a seconder? Councillor Gilbert, thank you. Councillor Dugan, like to speak for or against? Councillor Gilbert, anyone like to speak against? No, that being the case, I'll put it to the vote. All those in favour? Councillor James?
In favour.
Thank you. That's carried unanimously. 9.4 Community Development Stakeholder Services. We don't have any. No. 9.55 Infrastructure Services, which says nil at this stage. 9.6 Engineering Services, nil at this stage. 10 is Reports of Committees, which I don't believe we have any. 11 New Business of an Urgent Nature introduced by decision of Council. No. Item 12 matters with which the meeting may be closed. Don't believe there are any. No. And item 13, closure of meeting. stage, I'll declare the meeting closed. Thank you very much for your attendance. Thank you, Councillor James, and we will try and rectify our screen issue. Thank you. Meeting closed.